Okay, we're recording. Hello again. Welcome to the June 4th, 2018 SIG Service Catalog meeting. We have topics today, and I think a lot of people are away today, so a limited crowd. But let me see if I can open the chat so I can see if people raise their hand. We try to monitor everybody to run the meeting the way we run it. I guess let's just get started with the topics. I have created this issue in our repository that is basically on creating a sort of a user, however you want to call it, RBAC rule for service catalog. And if this would load, we could see it. Basically, what we have now is we have a bunch of roles, but they are basically all for the sort of administration and running of service catalog and its various pieces. And this sort of assumes that everybody, wonderful. Gosh. Cool. Okay. No, that's not it. Where is it? It is, no. Why is this still open? I am mangling this terribly. Hey, Paul, what do you want to say? Save me. And so I wanted to ask if we could put this into our sort of GA structure, because I think that having sort of user roles, or at least maybe some guidance for what needs to be properly accessible for sort of end users to do creation of instances and binding of those instances, and maybe not necessarily provide access to adding brokers or modifying the service classes and service plans, and basically giving those only sort of read-only access. Okay, I think I've mangled that enough. Is this Paul?
Yeah, I am very supportive of this idea. I'd be happy to have it in V1. I think it should be in V1.
Okay. Any other comments?
Yeah, Morgan, if you want help with that, let me know. We got some stuff here with OpenShift already on some of this, so I can contribute that back in.
Okay, I think Niall also had some stuff, and I would appreciate sort of everybody's view on it, because I don't, you know, I have theoretical ideas in my head. I don't actually have the running of it.
Sure. Okay.
So, okay, I'll follow up with you, or you can leave a comment in there. Okie dokie. Next is the declarative, imperative, whatever we want to call this, deprovision, unbind thing. Now appears to want to suggest that we form a separate group to talk about this. And that's about all we have, I think. Do we want to form a working group? I believe it's the topic.
I hereby raise my hand.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, I am really not sure what the best thing is to do here. I think the motivations for having the imperative flag for this, like, make a lot of sense. I regret that the semantics of graceful deletion and finalization seem to be kind of problematic for implementing the things that we need to with them.
Yes.
I hope that in the future we can have something that works well without having to have an imperative flag. I don't think that we should block making it better until the semantics and cubes are just right, because that's a big boulder to move. So I'm in favor of continued analysis on this, and I think that Morgan, does this understanding match yours? That like fundamentally, the issue around the motivation for this is that like you delete something, basically can't update. You can't get it back out of the state where it's deleted, right?
Yes, that's part of it. Well, that's this particular piece. Yes, that is that. I've written up a couple of extra pieces in a repository, and I've been asking, various API experts on it. And there's one thing that might preserve the existing semantics, but would still require some kind of extra field like this.
Mm-hmm.
Is there, and I had this discussion with somebody, but I don't remember if there was details. And then when I tried to look up details, I couldn't understand how we would use this to actually implement it. So is there a way to intercept something like the delete call and then change it into the update call?
So I don't want to say there's no way to do it. Here's the piece of code that does it. I mean, that's exactly what the API server does now. For resources that have graceful deletion, the API server will get a delete request, see that it has graceful deletion for this,
right?
Turn that into an update. That's basically what you're asking about, right?
Yeah. I think there was that. There was another option. I've got to write them up some more. I've written some up. I'll have to bring this back up again, I think. One of the previous options was basically go into the API server and hack our way down to the deletion area. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. So like since this is a recorded meeting, I will, in the background here, locate the actual code that does this and put a link to it in the chat just for posterity. But it's the generic store,
right,
that implements those behaviors. And
right.
The problem with like going and hacking through that is that then we would potentially lose all these other like very critical behaviors. And
right, exactly.
I guess what did you have in mind, Morgan? Like you'd want to take a deletion and set the imperative field instead of like the deletion timestamp?
Right. Do something like that, and then the only problem with that is you kind of get into the situation where, okay, well, fine, the controller eventually files the real delete. Is there a way to bypass the original delete? It gets confusing really quick. So I was. Yeah. So that was proposed as a somewhat of a solution. I'm not sure how the actual implementation would go.
So like in a vacuum, there's probably things we could do. I mean, one option might be to have a special sub-resource, safe delete or something like that had those types of semantics. I think we could definitely do that.
Right.
The other thing to consider about this is that like basically if anything we add in the flavor or in the form of custom sub-resources and like API type things are complications for ourselves when we're trying to do the CRE, right?
Absolutely. And that doesn't preserve, I don't think it preserves the sort of the standard experience or whatever, even with that.
Yeah, but I think that it could potentially be an option, like if we were to have a special sub-resource and, for example, its VCAT could be made to use that. I think we'll always have to implement the right thing if you just delete it. Like, I don't think there's a way not to support that. But if there's another way that provides a better UX, I think it should be on the table to do that thing and have that be the way to have it work best. So one question that I have for Scott is, Scott, have you tried to do any custom sub-resources for CRDs yet in your work to promote the catalog as a CRD?
They're not supported at all. So it's kind of on the radar, but it's not on any kind of work log. So that may be a future feature of CRDs, but you cannot do it yet. And the advice is to figure out some declarative way to incorporate what you want.
Scott, with CRDs, do they support the idea of getting in there and intercepting the incoming HTTP commands to customize those?
Yes, but no. You can't. I don't think you could go and take a delete and turn it into an update.
Yeah. So there is like mutating, or there's mutating webhooks, but I don't think you can transform the request type. You can get back to patch on the object, but you can't change the request, as far as I know.
Is that something that is changeable?
That's probably not a realistic alternative. That, like, if someone wants to pursue it, that's totally fine. I doubt that would be achieved, like, in terms of getting the consensus. So.
Well, it seems to me, going back to Null's original point about doing a work group, I don't know whether it's a work group or something else, but I do think it would be useful to have offline meetings aside from just this Monday call to discuss, how to move forward with this.
I think it's an important topic. So, like, just my own 2 cents would be probably the right technology play to do to make this happen would be to indicate that it's a priority for us to have sub-resources for CRDs. Like, I have another set of use cases for them. As an action item, I will take the to-do to link folks back, which hopefully I'll just be able to do in a few minutes here, to the thread about indicating whether you want to be able to do sub-resources. And we should articulate what we want to use them for here.
Well, I think sub-resources are probably good for CRDs in general. I think it's premature to assume that that's the solution for our particular problem. It may be. I just don't know yet. So I don't want to prejudice the discussion.
Opinion, just as some dude. I definitely think we should have meetings outside of the normal SIG ones to talk about it. So I'm +1 on having another set of meetings.
Okie dokie. Cool. We'll have to find a time to talk about this and find people interested. Moving on, I made the I did the tag and release of 0.121, but the chart Jenkins website is giving me a 502, and Vic owns the website and he is away, and so we don't have a 121 chart. And I just wanted to inform everybody of this because I felt it was something we should all know about, as should the people watching the video. Any commentary?
No one knows how to get in touch with Vic.
I tried him on Slack and by email. I have no response yet. I was Thursday, Friday, and this morning, so.
I could see if he's on vacation or something.
That would be appreciated. That's it for me. Jeff, I believe it is your turn to show us things. Would you like to have the screen?
Yeah, let me see if I can get this going here.
Yeah, Vic's out until the 11th.
Okay, so what I'm going to show today is the re-implementation of pod presets using CRD and a mutating webhook. I linked the repo in the agenda, but I'm assuming that people have not viewed it. So I will quickly run this deploy script and then explain it while it's running in the background and try to explain things best I can. The CRD was actually built with KubeBuilder, so that's part of the reason why it's in the standalone repo. My next action is to bring it into the service catalog repo, but because of the dependencies, that is a tricky task. So right now, you can see my deploy script here. First, I just have it building the CRD image, which is, it's actually just doing a simple Docker build on a file that is generated by KubeBuilder, so I won't really go into that that much. I didn't really tweak anything. So the webhook is the more interesting piece. So I will, first, actually, I'm just going to go ahead and show the presets that have been generated here. It's two of them, and it's one of them is simply adding a port 6379 with the mutate label true, and then the second one is adding 1111 for the port with mutate all true. So if we look at the deploy script, I'm deploying two, or actually three pods. One is just a normal pod and one is a deployment. So I'll show both of those, unless it's easier for you guys to just trust me. I'll just go ahead and show them. Let's see. So the first pod looks like this. So it's using this mutate true. So it will match the first pod preset. And the second one is deployment. It has two containers and is using this mutate all label. So whenever I describe the first pod, you can see that the environment variable 6379 is indeed there. And then show you the other one. And you can see that the port 1111 is there. And it's on both of them. One of the things that was done in the reconciler loop of the CRD was to implement bumping the pod. when a preset that matches is updated. So if you look here, whenever the mutating webhook makes a modification to the spec, it adds an annotation with the pod preset and the resource version. And then whenever the reconciler loop in the CRD detects that a matching preset has, or a mutation on the spec has occurred, it adds this bounce annotation. It will actually bounce the deployment. So then if a preset is added, the deployment is automatically updated. And you can verify that by seeing here that the age of the deployment here is younger than the pod that I created, even though the pod was created after. So that shows everything that's working. I'm thinking, what else can I go over here?
So, Jeff, is there you can tell from the deployment events because of it?
That last part was soft. Could you repeat it?
Is there from the deployment or events associated with it that it was bounced because a pod preset was created?
I've been checking the events. I've been looking at the logs, but let me see if that's a thing. I've been looking at this right here, and if you want, I can remove this grep. But that is showing in the log that it's when it's doing the bouncing. As far as adding in events, I guess that can be added. I don't think that that would work right now.
Yeah, that's bouncing because of X pod preset.
One more time, Paul. Sorry.
I said it might be useful to create an event for the deployment saying that you're bouncing it because of this pod preset.
Makes sense. But yeah, so I will stop screen sharing unless you want to see something else. All the files are in that repo. And like I said, I will open a PR once I get the dependency stuff all sorted.
Have you tried with like a database password?
It should behave the same way, but really all I've really been experimenting with are the tests that I have there now.
Okay.
Okay, that was the last. That was the last agenda item.
Okay, one last thing. Jeff, I think the next step that we also had talked about was pod preset binding as a CRD, right?
Yes, that will eventually come for sure.
So do we know what the level of effort associated with bringing this code into the project is yet, Jeff?
It's hard to say. Maybe by the end of this week can have it all done. I'm just not sure how much, how difficult it's going to be.
Okay. Cool. Thanks. Good demo.
Yeah, look good. I need to go try it, I think, and understand how we would use it and get it into the binding, touching that kind of stuff specifically. So, thanks.
Sure.
But yes, this is the end. Any other topics?
Yes. The face-to-face document's been created and sent out. So please fill in your agenda items.
It is at the top of our agenda document, I see, for everyone. Okie dokie, I think that wraps it up.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.